You need to stop relying on goal setting, and you need to start using habit science. The biggest reason I see that people are not achieving their New Year's resolutions is because they are not applying the habit science necessary to achieve a big goal. If you're anything like me, you will have a great goal in mind, like I want to write a book or I want to learn a new language, and you will even have a detailed plan for how to achieve it. But what you don't have in your plan is how to create the behavior change necessary to actually achieve what you want to do. New Year's resolutions are big goals, and big goals require lots of little habits to support them. If this struggle sounds familiar, the good news is this video is going to walk you through some of the core tenets of habit and behavior change to help you achieve those big goals. So let's start with finding your goal. You probably already have a goal in mind, but if not, you want to choose something that is both relevant to you and lifts you up inside. So evaluate your goals along these lines. There's no point in choosing something that is not going to get you excited or is not going to feel like an accomplishment once you're done with it. So for my sample resolution, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to be choosing learning a new language as my goal. This is just a sample goal to walk you through the habit science, and I'm going to choose Spanish. So first and foremost, above all, you want to take your goal and you want to connect this back to your values. This is going to be your why power, and it's going to completely replace your motivation. I recently made a video about setting goals in relationship to your values, so I will leave that linked up in the cards, but the long and short of it is that you want to think of the values you hold dear, maybe that's friendship, peace, love, creativity, or something else, and orient your goals around these different things. So there are some things that you have to do that it can be helpful to orient back to a goal. So for example, we have to be healthy, we have to work out sometimes or get exercise. We may not like to, so we can find a way to connect it with our values. You know, maybe your value is family, so being healthy means you get to spend more time with your family in the long run because you live longer or something to that effect. Learning Spanish, learning a new language is an optional goal, unless you're like literally moving to a Spanish-speaking country, I guess. But an optional goal usually will have a value attached. There's a reason why you want to do this. And that reason is already baked into your thought process and saying, hey, I'd like to learn a new language this year, or I'd like to accomplish this goal this year. So what does this goal do for me? I can already say right off the bat, this appeals to my sense of curiosity. I have a strong value of curiosity, and learning new things always satiates that. But it could also appeal to my value of friendship. I live in Southern California. There are so many Spanish speakers in this part of the world. So if I want to engage with most of my community, I need to make an effort to speak their language. And that really appeals to my internal value of friendship because I want to be making friends, I want to be a friendly person, and I want to feel like I'm part of my community. So that value is definitely activated by learning a new language within the context of where I live. So to refine this goal a little, my goal becomes, I want to be fluent. I want to be fluent in conversational Spanish so I can have friendly conversations in my community. Boom. That is a value-centered goal. Next, we're going to break this down. So now that we have our goal and the value it's connected to, we need to figure out how we are actually going to learn it. And this is where the habit science comes in. Big goals will always require some sort of repeated action, which is a habit. So you need to determine the primary habit that is related to your goal. If I want to learn Spanish, the primary habit is to practice Spanish. If you're doing something like getting fit or being healthy, the primary habit is going to be going to the gym. If you're doing something like I want to spend more time with my family, the primary habit might be always making sure you're home at 6 p.m. for family dinners or something like that. So the habit that is associated with your goal is going to be really what we are working on. So I've got my classic Atomic Habits, James Clear, right in front of me, and we are going to be working with his recommendations on building strong habits. Clear has 4 main tenets of habit science, and they are 1, make it obvious, 2, make it easy, 3, make it attractive, and 4, make it satisfying. Now, there are so many different ways to go about practicing Spanish in order to eventually be conversationally fluent in Spanish. But ideally, whatever your goal is, whatever your habit is, you want to find a way to utilize all 4 of these in pursuit of your behavior change. So we're trying to implement practicing Spanish, and this is what we need to make obvious, easy, attractive, and satisfying. For this example, example, I'm going to be using a language learning service called Lingoda, which is actually also our sponsor for this video. Lingoda is an online language school for everyone from beginners to experts who want to level up their language abilities in a live classroom environment. You may have heard me talk about this program before on my channel because I really think they are great. Learning a language can feel like such a commitment. People spend months and years trying to learn a second language, only to find out a few minutes here and there isn't actually enough to make it stick. And that's really where Lingoda comes in. I'm sure we're all aware of those little phone apps for language learning, but this is not that. Lingoda is, as I said, a real class with a live instructor. We're going to talk through learning a language with Lingoda as our example throughout this video, but if it sounds like your jam at any point, check out the link in the description box below and use the code Rachelle, that's my name, Rachelle, for a discount on your first language sprint. So we're practicing Spanish with Lingoda, and the first thing we need to do is make it obvious. Making it obvious is about gaining clarity on how you're going to achieve your goal. Not why, we already did why. This is about how. You want to use the basic formula, I will behavior at time in location. So I will behavior at time in location. So I could reasonably say I will practice Spanish at 6 p.m. every other day in a Lingoda class session. I do want to quickly note Lingoda offers a wide variety of dates and times that you can freely select from. You're not limited into one time slot, but I think I will aim for the same time slot every other day because I don't know if you're anything like me, the regularity of a habit when you're trying to build a habit towards a goal is really, really helpful. So making something super obvious, it always happens at this time, it always happens in this place, and it is always this behavior is going to be super helpful. Let me grab a new piece of paper and sort of outline the completed version of this page here. So if my goal is I want to be fluent in conversational Spanish so I can have friendly conversations in my community, and friendship is my value here, my making it obvious means I will practice Spanish at 6 p.m. every other day in a Lingoda class session. Behavior, time, location. Now that I have my formula down, the next tenet of habit science is to make it easy. This is the one that I think is really, really important. When you are trying to make your habits and goals easy, you want to keep two things in mind. The first is that the perfect is the enemy of the good. This is a Voltaire quote. It's iconic. It's one of my favorites because it is so true. We spend a lot of time waiting for things and circumstances or our plans to be perfect before we start going. But instead of waiting, we want to have what Ali Abdaal, he's a productivity YouTuber on YouTube, Ali Abdaal calls a bias towards action, which essentially means you want to start and you want to start before you're ready. The easiest way to just start, in my experience, is to ditch the research process and get expert help from somebody who knows better than you do. So for example, if your goal is to eat healthy and your habit is to prep meals at home, seek the consultation of a nutritionist who can help meal plan for you or help create a meal plan for you. So the first thing you want to keep in mind is getting expert help. In terms of learning a new language, all of Lingoda's instructors are native level speakers and certified professional teachers, so they don't just know the language, but they know how to actually convey the ins and outs of it in a way that beginners can understand. They also give you a bunch of extra materials. There are PDFs, quizzes, and exercises that you can download ahead of class to prepare, and your instructors give you personalized written feedback for after the class as well. So it's super easy to know what you're doing well and what you might need to brush up on. For the purposes of this, I'm going to take advantage of one of Lingoda's language sprints, which are basically ready-made intensive courses designed to help students build daily learning habits and stay motivated. These sprints have you do 30 lessons in 60 days or 60 lessons in 60 days if you are really motivated. It's super easy because the curriculum is meticulously designed by Lingoda's team of language experts, and skipping ahead to an area of interest or doubling back on something challenging is a breeze. So like I said, I don't need to spend the brain space organizing the material on my own, which is something that is definitely going to make me procrastinate on getting started. So getting expert help is going to help you get started fast. Another big tenet of making it easy is to focus on environment change. This is that tip we always hear about in every example about environment change, about putting your workout clothes out the night before, so in the morning it's so easy to change into them and go for a run, for example. If I wanted to make learning Spanish very easy via environment design, maybe I place sticky notes all over my house with the names of things in Spanish on it. Or I bookmark my favorite online resources in my toolbar instead of relying on my memory to look them up each time. They're just right there in my browser. So on our goal cheat sheet, our plan to make it easy is to A, sign up for classes with Lingoda experts, and B, bookmark resources. The next tenet of habit science is to make it attractive. James Clear basically says that desire is the underlying motivator for all human behavior and behavior change. So we develop new goals and habits because we have some sort of base desire that we are trying to meet a need for. I always think of making habits more attractive by using a technique James Clear calls temptation bundling. This is pairing a habit you don't want to do with something you do want to do. So say if you want to hang out with your friend, that's what you really enjoy doing, but you need to get a workout in, you can invite your friend to go on a hike with you. And then you are temptation bundling because the thing you really want to do is coming along with the thing that might be a little bit harder for you to stay motivated on. I'm going to go ahead and write temptation bundling there, just for those of you who are screenshotting my terrible handwriting. For this example, I am connecting my goal and my habit back to my values. So remember when we did this sheet, I refined my goal in a way so that it was oriented around my value of friendship, right? It was connected back to this value. So I could always know that the goal that I was working on was connected to a value of friendship. But that is a long-term connection to values. What I actually want to do in step 3 is make the habit itself connected back to that value. So it's very attractive because with Lingoda's language learning sprints and classes, I'm actually engaging with other people from all over the world while I am practicing the new language. So the classes are small, they're 5 students or less, and you really get to know each other in the classes and get lots of direct attention from the instructor themselves. So I'm going to meet new people, basically activating that curiosity and friendship value that I am achieving with the goal itself. I'm putting that directly into the habit portion that I'm practicing here too. So back on our goal cheat sheet, I am making it attractive. Meeting new people. I am meeting new people and making connections in Lingoda classrooms, which goes back to friendship, value, and curiosity as well. Who doesn't like to meet new people? Well, some of you might not like to meet new people, but I do. The last tenet that James Clear talks about in getting habits to stick is to make it satisfying. So this can be as simple as giving yourself an instant reward for your good behavior when creating a new habit. My favorite example of this that I've used before is getting myself a nice smoothie every time I work out. I don't do this all the time, but sometimes if I have a particularly good workout, I will get myself this smoothie that I love from this place on the way home from my gym, and that will be my sort of immediate reward that will create a link in my brain between doing the habit and getting a reward. Again, this is built right into Lingoda. Their language sprints take advantage of this. James Clear also really advocates for habit trackers in his book because they are a visual reminder of your progress and satisfying to check off at the end of the day after doing your habit. And Lingoda really does a good job of making the habit of practicing your new language very satisfying. Lingoda, first of all, builds prizes in for successful completion right into the fabric of their language sprints. So upon completion, you get 50% cash back, which is an awesome incentive to stay committed, and it makes completing the challenge feel so good. You can also receive course credits at the end too if you want to keep taking classes with Lingoda, and then those classes are free. So the satisfying reward at the end of one sprint of practicing Spanish, which again will not take up the whole year but will take about 60 days, is really nice. That is a very satisfying reward, I would say. Plus, a language sprint itself is like built for a habit tracker, for a daily checkoff system, so that is super smooth and really builds into this last tenet of habit science as well. So again, if Lingoda seems up your alley, please check out my link in the description box below and use the code Rachel for a discount on your first language sprint. All right, back on our goal cheat sheet. The way we are making it satisfying is by creating a habit tracker and getting money back upon completion. So the way we are making it satisfying is by creating a habit tracker and getting money back on completion of a Lingoda sprint. Once you have in mind all of the ways you are going to make your habit obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying, you will be able to achieve so much more than you were just able to achieve with a basic resolution. Thanks again to Lingoda for sponsoring this video. The next sprint starts on January 15th, so if that sounds up your alley, check out my link in the description. If you want to know more about applying your values to your goals to make them even stronger, check out the video I have right here next to my head about that very topic. Thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for being awesome. I love you so much, and I wish you a magical 2024. See ya in the next one. Bye.